Plan Commission meeting to order. Fred, you had a chance to take a look at the minutes?
Yes, sir.
Move to approve.
Approve. You monkey.
I second.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Rezoning recommendation of the Common Council for an application at 807 and 811 Wisconsin Street from R1 one-family residential to R2 two-family residential.
Good evening, Plan Commission. So tonight we are considering rezoning of 807 and 811 Wisconsin Street. They're two separate parcels adjacent to one another, located next to Willow River Cemetery. The rezoning proposal is requested for the future development of two twin homes on both properties, totaling 4 new dwelling units. The rezoning from 1 to 2 family residential would not require a comprehensive plan land use designation amendment, so that's all good on that side. A neighborhood meeting was held on August 16th at 822 Wisconsin Street across the street at 12 p.m. Multiple neighbors and residents attended the neighborhood meeting along with one Plan Commission member. The minutes and sign-in record of that meeting are provided in your packet. Also, I'd like to note that a public hearing for this rezoning is scheduled to occur with the Common Council on December 2nd, in a few weeks. As this is a rezoning request, staff has provided you 3 considerations to review and think about which one you would like to choose, either approve, deny, or postpone. If you would approve, you would forward a recommendation to council noting that you find the change in zoning warranted and appropriate. Denial would be the opposite of that. Postponement would occur in the instance if you need any further data or information. So with that, I'll let you guys go ahead and deliberate on this. I do believe the applicant is here tonight to help answer any questions.
I think personally, I'd like to know what the outcome of the public hearing as far as the consensus of the people that speak at that before I would feel comfortable approving this for a recommendation for the Common Council.
So presuming this is accurate, right? It's in the issue sheet. And it says that there was no opposition. And also that other people, other neighbors that were not at the meeting were contacted and they're not opposed. Is that correct?
I'm aware of Mr. Jeff Ritchie being very concerned about it.
Yeah, he was at the meeting.
He owns right behind the water tower up there. And he didn't get the letter because he's apparently on the edge or outside the perimeter of the mailings. And so I don't know if he wants to say anything or not, but I mean, in the little conversation I had with him, he was I'm gonna say he was upset and concerned. So I guess I share your analogy.
And I know there was, Jim Graham spoke also at last month's meeting opposing this change in the zoning. So I'll state again, I don't feel comfortable with approving this or giving approval for city council.
So you would like to wait until the public hearing has occurred. If you do that, then council will hold that, but they just won't deliberate on it at that night then. So we could still do that if that's what you would feel more comfortable with.
That would be my preference.
Make it a motion.
So I'll make the motion to delay or postpone action on this item.
And I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second to delay.
Correct.
Until
The public hearing.
the public hearing. So let me ask this. Wouldn't we just, are you saying you want this back here after the public hearing? Because normally we would have the public hearing at the council and the council would vote on it.
What he's requesting, I believe, is to allow council to move forward with the public hearing and then bring it back to Plan Commission to then have their consideration made at that time and then forward to council. So it'd be like bouncing a little back and forth between the two.
We want to hear what's being said on a big scale, where I guess I've heard bits and pieces, and so I don't know if I have the complete story on it. I mean, that's how I'm reading it. So that's why I would like to join Roger in that statement, is I'd like to hear everything that's said, at the council and then bring it back, correct? I mean, then we have everybody's input that wants to come to the table and say something, where right now I feel...
No, I don't have a problem with that, Fred. I'm just wondering if that's just one too many steps. I mean, if we're we could forward this on to the council without a recommendation and let them do the public hearing and make up their mind that evening after the public hearing.
Right.
Could do that.
Yeah,
Or do you, I mean, if you want it bounced back, then that would be the motion.
well, that would put it off into the coming before council until after the first of the year then, right?
Yeah,
Well,
Is it, I understand the motion and this, and the reason, the logic behind it, but having heard what you just said, it's not kicking the can down the road, but just leaving it to the public hearing at the time of the city council meeting and let them make the decision.
So if we, let's say if we approve it now, it goes to city council, there's the public hearing. Council then decides, based on that hearing, what happens at that point.
and based on
And
our
based on what
motion.
you guys
a
discuss
motion
here.
to forward it without a recommendation.
Right, okay.
What's being said is we're neutral on the subject. We're neither for or against if we just let it go to the.
To the council.
City council.
Well, and especially being aware that there's gonna be a public hearing on this after, you know, supposedly after we, presumably, after we already acted, you know, so.
So we can send it to council without a recommendation?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? We can, oh, okay.
Roger, you wanna change or no?
Either way, I mean, if you want it back here, then we'll do the public hearing at the council and make it part of the motion that after the public hearing at the council, we want it back here for consideration. It's up to you guys.
If it's not getting postponed, based on what I've heard from people that showed up at last month's meeting, I would make a motion to decline or deny this request to the city council.
Oh, okay. Well, that's, yeah, you could do that
That's a
too.
big change.
Just based on what I heard
Okay.
from the, we had the neighbors here, so
See, I haven't heard that, and that's why I
Okay.
wanna have the public hearing, so I'll support you on your first motion, but not your second one.
I'll withdraw my first motion if you want to make another motion. But I'm not going to, I'll either stick with my first motion of let's, I understand your point of having this thing bouncing back and forth.
Well, I
But if
don't
we
know.
can go neutral, if we can neutrally send it to council, that gives that hearing, a public hearing, a chance
That
for
lets them vote
voices.
right after the hearing.
I'm sorry?
That lets the city council vote right after.
Right after the hearing on what,
So
so
if we had
they'll-
any input at that point, it's
it's
gone.
moved, yeah.
All right, so
Right.
let's just back up a second. Roger, do you want to make a motion to deny?
I would like to make a motion to deny this request, or make a recommendation to the council to deny this request.
Okay. You're making that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second? Is there a second? All right, so motion fails for lack of a second. Is there another motion?
I will make a motion that we wait until after the city council's public hearing on the subject, bring it back to planning, and then send our recommendation forward from that after all the tree shaking's done and everything's been talked about to what, you know, the maximum degree. So hopefully we have good and current and proper and input, and we, you know, we say what we think and feel.
Okay?
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to
Send it to the,
send it to the council with no recommendation.
Postpone action until after the
Postpone action?
public hearing.
Okay, until after the public hearing, send it back. Ask the council
Bring
to
it
send it
back.
back here.
Yep.
yes.
All right, we have a motion and a second for that. Any discussion on that motion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion's approved. Final development plan review of 585 Annabelle Way, Hearth Development, 585 Annabelle Way, Bella Rose, number 2, apartment, final development review.
So here the applicant has submitted final development plans for your consideration of their proposed 92 dwelling unit apartment complex. For the most part, the plans are pretty similar to what you all saw with the concept plans that were brought forward to you, except for changes made to landscaping, erosion control, photometrics, lighting stuff, engineering detail plates, and pedestrian site accessibility. Outside of that, pretty much staff finds that it meets all of our city municipal code ordinances as well as the Bella Rose Master Plan CUP. So we would recommend approval with the listed conditions.
One question. The height of the building is not gonna change from the first building? Okay.
Wait, what do you mean? The one that's north of
The
it?
total top of the peak, it's not gonna be, the
Higher.
elevation's not gonna be, it's gonna be on the same elevation
Yes,
as the first building, which then would put the peak at, if it's the same building, at the same height.
yes.
If the elevation's different, up or down, that changes the peak. And so I just,
Well, if you remember, this building was approved to have
I
the
know.
CP amended to allow a slight little increase in that height because it's gonna be settled down a little lower.
okay, okay.
But we put a limit on the number
But
of
we put-
stories, the number of floors that that building could have. It's the same number of floors as the other building.
Yep.
I'll move to approve the city conditions pertaining to the entire development as has been said, stated.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. Downtown design review at 220 Vine Street, Croy View Chiropractic.
All Energy Solar, on behalf of the property owner and business owner, submitted a downtown design review to install a solar array on the building's rooftop. The array would include 32 consecutive panels, angled to match the roof pitch of 26 degrees, accounting for a total 692 approximately square feet of roof coverage. Location of the solar array would be on the building's south roof pitch, so it would be facing away from right-of-way, so it'd be pretty low-key hidden from public eye. Staff finds this proposal to meet municipal code downtown overlay guidelines, so we'd recommend approval.
I welcome the investment. I move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and second to approve. Any discussion?
Do you know if there's any reflection that comes off these
gonna ask
solar
the same
panels?
thing.
Because you have a neighbor with a two-story house that this is pointing at. Does this just absorb sunlight, or does it have any mirror effect that's going to be?
I don't know if the applicant is here right now. I can't, I'm not a,
No, it'll be black on black, so it's not like a shiny surface. It absorbs that sunlight.
Okay.
Okay.
And then it's gonna be a little bit more towards the river compared to where that building is located.
No glare or anything like that, like off a car windshield?
No, because it's on the back side of the building, so it's more facing that two-story, but it's actually offset from where that is, so it'll be more in the parking lot.
Just shining
Okay.
in the windows of that sunken houseboat out there.
Run a power cord out to run the pump.
Yeah.
I stand by my recommendation.
Motion, okay, so any
Motion.
further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Discussion possible action on certified survey map extraterritorial zone, town of Hudson at 654 Gilbert Road, Douglas and Christine Tolgren.
so as the mayor kindly explained, this is in our extraterritorial district zone outside of city limits in the town of Hudson. The applicant is looking to subdivide 3 parcels into 5 lots. One of the lots would retain an existing house structure on it, while the remaining 4 would remain vacant until they sell off the properties. Lot sizes are described in the staff report, and staff find the CSM to meet all subdivision requirements in our code, so we would recommend you forward a recommendation of approval to the city council.
Okay, so I don't remember an extraterritorial issue coming before this plan commission since
Yeah,
I've been here.
We've had it.
We've had it.
Since I've been here?
Oh, yes, many of them.
Really?
I mean, it's, we have apparently, just anything that's within 2 miles of,
Yeah, I know what it
it
is.
is, and we've had a couple in the south area. Troy?
But I'm just, okay, so I'm curious then, this is town of Hudson. Are these the 2-acre lots?
Yep. Their maximum or minimum is 2 acres.
Right, and if we were to approve this, would they be less than 2-acre lots?
No.
Well, these are all 2.
They're proposed as
Okay, okay.
no less than 2.
Okay, that's fine.
Why, can you explain to me why these are in our parameter of review?
It's a courtesy thing. I think they want, we don't want to step on the other guy's toes on what we're doing and putting in.
We
No,
have-
I mean, just
we
why
have-
this-
We have, based upon the type of city that we are, and right now we are a city of the third class, we have extraterritorial rights, meaning going beyond our boundary. We have decision-making authority as to subdivision for a number of these properties, all right? It used to be 2 miles when we were,
It used to be one, it used to be 1.5, and then we expanded recently to 3 miles.
Okay.
and so, and what it is, essentially, is a way for us, it's an acknowledgement that cities are going to be expanding. And as they expand, there is consideration for developments that are happening in those territories that we might be expanding into, and thus prohibiting us, essentially, stopping us from being able to do some of the things that we might want to do as properties is being annexed.
Okay, all right.
Well, let me ask you this, then, with that statement said, or did I just not hear it? River Falls is being aggressive in what they're bringing into their fold as far as annexation, and they're coming our way,
You know?
and they're gonna bump up to us, and so at some point, these areas are gonna bump into each other. But does that tell one to stop, or what does that signal then when that happens? When River Falls is asked for an ex-territory, it bumps up, kind of due to these limits and
We
rules.
both have extraterritorial
It already
rights.
does.
Now, didn't we have a line at the sand at 6 Mile Corner there at where Double F met 35? Wasn't that kind of our,
Well, we did at one
Yeah.
time, but that's all changed.
so do we need to extend that out?
Well, didn't you say yourself we need to run it down to the Cove Road?
That's what I've said all along,
And
yeah.
then all the way out to exit 4 or 12? I mean, that's why I'm asking the question, is because it brings up that issue.
But this whole area though has already been subdivided.
Yeah,
So it's an infill project, taking out one house.
Oh, I know, this
Yeah,
project,
this one
yes,
does,
but I
yeah.
was asking it on the overall.
On the overall, it's an issue that we have to
Well,
address.
that's why I asked, what does it mean? I mean, I don't know, what does it mean? Where does it put us? Do we have any influence on it? Should we be worried about it? I mean, should we be more aggressive as a city, annexing more, or what should we be
For
doing?
River Falls?
Well, I mean, for the land, because if they're,
I mean, because, are you talking about south,
because they're.
agreeing
they're-
about River Falls?
Right,
or-
right. They're coming up and they're grabbing our stuff.
So first of all, this is not on the agenda,
Yeah,
Okay.
all right? I
it's
mean,
not
yeah,
germane to this.
Well, right, and we can't be discussing
Okay,
something
well, then
like
I
that.
dropped the whole
That's
thing.
not on the agenda.
Excuse me.
Good question, you know. All right, so any other discussion on this particular issue? And we had the motion and the second?
Yep.
Both? Okay.
I'm guessing, these are all buildable lots, is the way they're, I mean, that's what the final goal is? These are just buildable house lots and,
Yep.
okay.
So, and also in answer to your question, these properties, for the most part, relative to extraterritorial rights, and when I say for the most part, I believe probably completely, are already designated in the comprehensive plan
Oh, okay.
as areas that are.
For growth.
That, for our growth, for
Okay.
annexation, yeah. Okay. All right.
Wait, so if we did do a motion, who made it?
Fred,
Fred did.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. And then who seconded?
I did.
Yeah, okay. Noted.
Anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. I don't have anything, anybody?
Move to adjourn?
Second?
Motion second to adjourn, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved, we stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Well, it's a-